Do you ever feel that quiet nagging dissonance? That subtle tension between the spiritual truths you hold dear about love, peace, contribution, and the very real, tangible desire for financial abundance? You want a life of freedom, security, and the ability to make a positive impact, yet a voice whispers that wanting money is somehow unspiritual? That perhaps true enlightenment means transcending material concerns, leaving you in a state of inner conflict, where a part of you yearns for prosperity while another part recoils from it, fearing it makes you less than enlightened? If this resonates, if you feel this inner tug-of-war, then you are precisely where you need to be. Because today we are going to dissolve that conflict. Welcome, fellow alchemists, to this sacred space. You've arrived at a pivotal moment in your journey, a place where the ancient art of transformation meets the modern art of financial manifestation. I am Elias Vance, and here on The Abundance Alchemist, we don't just talk about wealth. We practice its sacred creation. Today, we are not merely going to discuss money. We are going to redefine it. We are going to transform your relationship with it, moving from a place of guilt, shame, and confusion to one of clarity, integrity, and profound abundance. This audiobook, The 12 Alchemical Principles for Spiritual Wealth, is your masterclass in harmonizing your inner spiritual values with your outer financial reality. This is for you if you've ever found yourself believing that spirituality and wealth are opposing forces. If you've felt guilty for wanting more, for desiring financial freedom, or if you've worried that pursuing wealth means sacrificing your soul, we are going to prove unequivocally that they are not only compatible but inherently interconnected. True abundance, the kind that nourishes your soul and allows you to contribute most powerfully to the world, emerges when your financial life is a direct, harmonious expression of your deepest spiritual truth. As the music swells, look at the screen. On the left, you see our foundational playlist, The Foundations of Abundance. It's the perfect place to start if you're new here. And on the right, I have personally selected our guide, The 5 Alchemical Phases of Sacred Commerce, a guide to wealth and integrity. As the perfect next step to deepen your practice, let us begin the great work. Chapter 1, The Inner Conflict of Spirituality versus the Pursuit of Money. There's a deeply ingrained narrative that has permeated spiritual traditions for centuries, a whisper that has grown into a roar for many. The idea that attachment to material wealth is a spiritual failing. We hear stories of ascetics, of renunciation, of gurus who live in poverty, and we equate spiritual attainment with a lack of worldly possessions. This narrative, while rooted in certain valid principles about detachment from excessive egoic attachment, has been profoundly misinterpreted and, frankly, weaponized against us. It has created a profound inner conflict for countless spiritually aware individuals. You might be someone who meditates daily, who practices gratitude, who is committed to personal growth and contributing positively to the world. You understand the power of intention, the law of attraction. Yet when it comes to your finances, there's a wall, a sense of guilt, a feeling that wanting more money, or even just feeling comfortable with having it, makes you less spiritual. You might find yourself unconsciously sabotaging opportunities, downplaying your achievements, or feeling a pang of shame when you purchase something that feels luxurious, even if you can easily afford it. I remember a client, let's call her Anya. Anya was a gifted healer, incredibly intuitive and deeply committed to her spiritual path. She attracted clients who adored her, and she genuinely wanted to serve them. But her prices were embarrassingly low. She'd tell me with a sigh, "I just don't feel right charging more. It feels greedy, like I'm exploiting people's vulnerability." She was leaving so much money on the table, not because she couldn't earn it, but because she believed that earning it meant compromising her spiritual integrity. Her income was stagnant, and her resentment grew, not towards her clients, but towards the system and even towards herself. Anya was trapped in the belief that spiritual service and financial reward were mutually exclusive. This conflict creates a subtle yet powerful block. It's like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. You have the spiritual engine, the desire for abundance, the principles of attraction working for you, but that internal brake of guilt and unworthiness is holding you back. You're radiating a mixed signal. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds to the dominant signal. And often that dominant signal becomes, I'm not entirely sure I deserve this. I'm not entirely sure it's okay for me to have this. So the first principle, the foundation upon which all subsequent alchemical transformations are built, is to understand and acknowledge this inner conflict for what it is, a misunderstanding, a misinterpretation of timeless principles. It's a belief system that needs to be alchemized. Chapter 2, Understanding Spiritual Finance. It's not about hoarding, it's about harmonizing. What do I mean by spiritual finance? It's not about chanting over your bank statements or demanding miracles from your investments. It's far more profound. Spiritual finance is the practice of understanding money, not just as a medium of exchange, but as a form of energy. An energy that flows, that can be generated, directed, and amplified through consciousness, intention, and aligned action. Think about it. Money itself is neutral. It has no inherent moral quality. A dollar bill can pay for a life-saving medicine, or it can fund a destructive act. Its value, its impact is determined by the intention and consciousness behind its use. In spiritual finance, we recognize that our relationship with money is a mirror of our relationship with ourselves, with our worth, and with our capacity to give and receive. This is why the old paradigm of spiritual detachment from money has caused so much harm. It creates a vacuum. If you push money away, if you believe it's inherently problematic, you disconnect yourself from a powerful tool for good. You limit your ability to create impact, to support causes you believe in, to provide for your loved ones, and to experience the richness and joy that life offers. Consider the concept of conscious stewardship. This isn't about being stingy or hoarding. It's about being aware of the energy of money and making choices that are in alignment with your highest values. It's about asking, where is this money coming from? Is it generated ethically? Where is it going? Does it support my growth, my well-being, and my contribution to the world? How does it feel to earn it and to spend it? Does it feel expansive or constrictive? This requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing money as a dirty word, a necessary evil, or something to be attained at all costs, we begin to see it as a sacred current. A current that, when aligned with love, integrity, and purpose, can bring immense blessings, not just to you, but to everyone you touch. This isn't about acquiring wealth for the sake of possessions. It's about cultivating wealth as an expression of your worth and your capacity to serve. It's about becoming a conscious conductor of financial energy, capable of directing it towards creation, healing, and expansion. Chapter 3. Why traditional finance can feel disconnected from the soul, the conventional financial world, for all its sophistication, often operates from a paradigm that is fundamentally at odds with our spiritual essence. It's a world built on scarcity, competition, and a purely transactional view of value. Let's break down why this can feel so alienating to the soul. Firstly, the emphasis is overwhelmingly on external metrics. Success is measured by net worth, by assets, by income. While these are important indicators, they don't capture the inner experience of abundance or the qualitative value of your contributions. A person can have a vast fortune but feel utterly bankrupt in spirit, joy, and purpose. Conversely, someone with modest means can possess immense inner richness and a deep sense of prosperity. The traditional financial system often misses this crucial dimension. Secondly, it promotes a zero-sum game mentality. The idea that for someone to win, someone else must lose. This fosters competition rather than collaboration, and it can lead to a constant feeling of anxiety and insecurity. The spiritual perspective, however, recognizes that abundance is infinite. There is more than enough for everyone to thrive. When we operate from a place of abundance consciousness, we understand that one person's success does not diminish another's. In fact, it can inspire and uplift. Thirdly, there's a profound disconnect from the energetic nature of money. Traditional finance treats money as a static object, a commodity to be managed. It doesn't acknowledge the energetic flow, the vibrational resonance, or the power of consciousness in creating financial outcomes. It's all about spreadsheets, interest rates, and market fluctuations, without addressing the underlying beliefs, emotions, and energetic patterns that truly drive our financial reality. I worked with a brilliant financial advisor once, a man who could talk for hours about market trends and diversification strategies. But when I asked him about his personal financial journey, he confessed to a deep-seated fear of scarcity. He'd grown up in poverty, and despite his professional success, he lived in constant dread of losing it all. His fear, his energetic signature, was unconsciously attracting situations that reinforced that scarcity. His sophisticated financial knowledge was being undermined by his unhealed subconscious patterns. The system he worked within didn't offer him the tools to address this inner landscape. This is why we need spiritual finance. We need to infuse the practicalities of managing money with a deeper understanding of its energetic essence, our own energetic worth, and the infinite possibilities of a co-creative relationship with the universe. We need to move beyond just managing dollars and cents and start tending to the soul of our finances. Chapter 4. The myth of hustle culture versus the power of inspired action in today's world. We're bombarded with messages of hustle culture. Grind harder, wake up at 4 a.m., crush your goals, never sleep. This relentless pursuit, often fueled by a deep-seated fear of not being enough, is not only unsustainable, but often counterproductive when it comes to attracting true, harmonious abundance. It's rooted in the belief that we must force our way to wealth, that effort alone is the key. But what if the most powerful engine for wealth creation isn't brute force, but aligned energy? This is where inspired action comes in, and it's a cornerstone of spiritual finance. Hustle culture is driven by doing, often without clarity or inner alignment. It's like a frantic hamster on a wheel, expending a lot of energy, but not necessarily moving in the right direction. It's driven by a feeling of lack and desperation, a belief that if you stop pushing, everything will collapse. Inspired action, on the other hand, arises from a place of clarity, intuition, and inner knowing. It's not about forcing things. It's about flowing with the energy of the universe. It's recognizing opportunities when they present themselves and taking action from a place of calm confidence and excitement, rather than anxiety and desperation. Think of it this way: a river flows downhill naturally. It doesn't strain, it doesn't fight the rocks. It finds the path of least resistance, carving its way through mountains over time. Inspired action is like that river. It's guided by a deeper intelligence. It feels energizing, not draining, and the results it brings are often far more profound and sustainable than anything achieved through sheer force. I learned this lesson years ago when I was trying to launch a new service. I was working 16-hour days, fueled by coffee and sheer willpower. I was pushing, trying to make it happen. Nothing was flowing. Then I hit a wall of exhaustion. I decided to take a break, to simply sit and meditate and see what came. During that quiet time, a clear idea popped into my head. Not a frantic to-do list, but a simple, elegant strategy. I felt a surge of excitement, a calm certainty. I took action on that idea, and within weeks, the project took off in ways I could never have forced. It wasn't about working harder. It was about working smarter, guided by inspiration. The key to inspired action is listening. It's about cultivating that inner stillness to hear the whispers of intuition. It's about recognizing that busy does not equal productive, and that true wealth creation is a dance between inner alignment and outer execution. When you act from inspiration, you're not fighting the current. You are flowing with it, and the universe conspires to support your efforts. Chapter 5. Recognizing money guilt and shame in spiritual seekers. This is where the rubber truly meets the road for many. The guilt and shame we feel around money are often deeply ingrained, stemming from a complex web of personal experiences, societal conditioning, and misinterpreted spiritual teachings. Recognizing these emotions is the first step towards alchemizing them. Money guilt. This is the feeling that it's somehow wrong to want, have, or enjoy money. It can manifest as downplaying your success. Oh, it was just luck. Hesitation to charge fair prices for your work, like Anya, the healer, feeling it's greedy, feeling uncomfortable, receiving gifts or abundance, pushing back, saying, oh, you shouldn't have. A constant internal debate. Is this purchase really necessary? Is it spiritual enough? Money shame. This is a deeper, more profound feeling of unworthiness related to your financial situation. It's the belief that you are inherently flawed or less valuable because of your financial circumstances, or because you desire financial security. It can manifest as avoiding discussions about money, feeling exposed or inadequate, secretly comparing yourself to others, feeling inferior if you have less, believing you don't deserve wealth, self-sabotaging behaviors that keep you in a state of lack, a deep-seated fear of judgment, worrying what others will think if they knew your financial situation or your desire for more. These emotions are not spiritual. They are learned patterns. They are the lead of your financial self that needs to be transmuted into the gold of worthiness and abundance. Consider the forgiveness ledger concept. This is a powerful alchemical tool. It's not about dwelling on the past, but about consciously releasing the energetic charge of past financial mistakes, perceived failures, or moments where you felt shame. You don't need to record every single infraction. It's about writing down the essence of the feeling. For instance, I forgive myself for feeling ashamed when I couldn't afford that course. Or, I forgive myself for believing that my worth was tied to my income. The act of writing, of acknowledging, and then consciously releasing, begins to dissolve the energetic imprint of shame and guilt. The mirror of worth is another potent practice. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eyes, and state affirmations of your inherent worthiness, not just for wealth, but for love, joy, and peace. When you feel the resistance, the guilt creep in, acknowledge it, and gently repeat the affirmation. I am worthy of abundance. I am worthy of financial peace. I'm worthy of receiving. This practice retrains your subconscious mind to accept and embody a higher vibrational state of worthiness. It's about seeing your true, divine essence reflected back at you, independent of your bank balance. Chapter 6. The role of conscious stewardship of financial energy. So we've acknowledged the conflict, understood spiritual finance, and identified the emotions of guilt and shame. Now we move into the active practice of conscious stewardship. This is where you become the wise alchemist of your own financial world. Conscious stewardship means recognizing that money is not just something you have. It's something you manage, something you direct, and something that flows through you. It's about making deliberate, mindful choices about your financial energy. Let's break this down into practical components. Awareness is key. The first step is simply becoming aware of your financial energy. Where is it currently flowing? What are your biggest spending habits? What are your primary sources of income? Without judgment, simply observe. Keep a simple spending journal for a week or two. Track your income sources. This isn't about restriction. It's about gathering data for your alchemical transformation. Intentional allocation. Once you are aware, you can begin to allocate your financial energy with intention. This means aligning your spending with your values. If one of your core values is personal growth, then investing in books, courses, or retreats isn't a frivolous expense. It's a conscious investment in your evolution. If your value is contributing to the planet, then consciously choosing sustainable products or supporting eco-friendly businesses becomes an act of spiritual finance. The energy of earning. Conscious stewardship also applies to your earning. Are you in a position where your work drains you, or does it energize you? Does it align with your soul's purpose? This doesn't mean everyone needs to quit their job tomorrow, but it does mean asking, how can I bring more of my true self into my work? How can I adjust my current path or seek new paths that resonate more deeply with my spiritual core? When your earning is aligned with your values, the energy feels cleaner, more sustainable, and more abundant. The art of receiving, a critical and often overlooked aspect of stewardship, is the ability to receive. Many spiritual individuals are excellent givers, but struggle to receive. Conscious stewardship means opening yourself up to receive financial blessings, recognition for your work, and abundance in all its forms. It's about recognizing that giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin, both essential for a healthy, energetic flow. Generosity from a place of plenty. Stewardship also involves intentional generosity. Not giving from a place of scarcity or obligation, but from a place of abundance and genuine desire to contribute. When you give from a place of fullness, your generosity amplifies the positive energy, creating a virtuous cycle. This practice of conscious stewardship transforms money from a source of anxiety into a sacred tool for manifesting your highest good and contributing to the collective. It's about seeing every financial transaction as an opportunity to align your energy, your intentions, and your actions with the abundant, loving universe. Chapter 7. Building a values-driven budget and financial plan. Let's move from the energetic principles to the practical application. If you're going to practice spiritual finance, you need a framework. And that framework begins with a values-driven budget. Forget the rigid, restrictive budgets of the past that made you feel deprived. This is about creating a financial plan that reflects your soul. First, you must identify your core values. What is most important to you in life? Is it growth, contribution, family, creativity, health, freedom? Write them down. Be specific. For example, instead of growth, perhaps it's continuous learning and skill development. Instead of contribution, perhaps it's supporting ethical businesses and initiatives. Once you have your core values clearly defined, you can build your budget around them. This means asking yourself, for every dollar you spend or earn, does this align with my core values? Does this expenditure help me move towards my spiritual and financial goals? Does this income stream feel aligned with my integrity? Consider these steps. Track your current flow. Before you plan, you must know where your money is currently going. Use an app, a spreadsheet, or a simple notebook. Track your income and expenses for at least 1 month. This is your baseline. Categorize with values in mind. Instead of generic categories like entertainment or miscellaneous, create categories that reflect your values. For example, spiritual growth, books, courses, retreats, meditation apps, health and well-being, organic food, gym memberships, therapy, massages, contribution and impact, donations to charities, supporting ethical businesses, investing in conscious ventures, creative expression, art supplies, music lessons, creative projects, freedom and security, savings, investments, emergency fund. Allocate with intention now. Allocate your income to these value-driven categories. It's not about depriving yourself. It's about prioritizing what truly matters. If continuous learning is a core value, then allocate a significant portion to educational pursuits. If supporting ethical businesses is key, make that a line item. The sacred savings account. Designate a portion of your income for savings and investments, not just as a dry financial task, but as an act of faith in the future. This money is for your security, your expansion, and your ability to contribute more significantly down the line. See it as planting seeds for future abundance. The Joyful Giving Fund. Similar to savings, create a dedicated fund for generosity. This isn't just about writing checks. It's about feeling the joy and spiritual upliftment that comes from supporting others and contributing to causes you believe in. Building a values-driven budget is an act of self-awareness and self-respect. It's a tangible expression of your commitment to living a life of integrity and purpose. It transforms money management from a chore into a spiritual practice. Chapter 8. Aligning spending with spiritual priorities and purpose. This is where the magic truly happens, taking your values-driven budget and living it out with intention. Aligning your spending is not about restriction. It's about expansion, about using your financial energy to create the reality you desire. Many people operate on autopilot when it comes to spending. We swipe cards, click buy, and don't truly consider the energetic imprint of our choices. Aligned spending is about bringing mindfulness to every transaction. Let's consider some practical ways to align your spending. The soul scan. Before purchase. Before you buy anything non-essential, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, does this purchase align with my values? Will this bring me genuine joy or contribute to my well-being in a meaningful way? Is this an act of service to myself or an investment in my growth? Does this purchase create a feeling of expansiveness or contraction within me? If the answer is consistently positive and it fits within your values-driven budget, then proceed with gratitude. If there's hesitation or a sense of should, it might be an opportunity to pause and reflect. Investing in experiences over things. While material possessions can bring temporary pleasure, experiences often provide deeper, lasting fulfillment and contribute to our personal growth. A concert, a weekend getaway, a workshop. These enrich your life, create memories, and often align beautifully with values of joy, learning, and connection. Conscious consumption, where you spend your money, has a ripple effect. Choose to support businesses that align with your ethical and spiritual principles. Seek out companies committed to fair labor practices, environmental sustainability, and community well-being. This isn't just about ethical consumerism. It's about directing your financial energy towards the kind of world you want to create. The energy of gratitude. Whatever you purchase, whatever you invest in, do so with immense gratitude. Gratitude is a high-frequency emotion that amplifies the positive energy of any transaction. Be thankful for the ability to earn, for the product or service you are receiving, and for the opportunity to support others through your spending. I recall a time when I was considering buying a rather expensive gadget. My initial thought was, I don't really need this, but then I reframed it. This gadget would allow me to create content more efficiently, which would help me reach more people with valuable wisdom. It would support my spiritual mission. So I made the purchase, not from a place of impulsive desire, but from a place of aligned purpose, and I felt nothing but gratitude. The device became a tool for my soul's work, not just a material indulgence. Aligning your spending is about making every financial decision a conscious act of co-creation. It's about ensuring your money is not just a tool for survival or acquisition, but a powerful instrument for living your spiritual truth. Chapter 9. Practical Rituals to Release Money. Blocks and guilt. Knowledge is power, but embodied practice is transformation. In this chapter, we introduce alchemical rituals, simple, repeatable practices designed to dissolve deeply held money blocks and the pervasive guilt that often accompanies them. These are not quick fixes, but consistent practices that retrain your subconscious mind and energetic field. The Forgiveness Ledger. Ritual. As mentioned earlier, This is a powerful way to release past financial burdens. How to do it? Set aside 10-15 minutes in a quiet space. Have a journal and a pen. The process. Begin by taking a few deep breaths to center yourself. Write down specific instances or general feelings where you've experienced money guilt or shame. Examples: I forgive myself for feeling jealous of others. Financial success. I forgive myself for believing I don't deserve financial security. Forgive myself for any past financial decisions that led to regret. As you write each entry, imagine the energy of that guilt or shame being released with your breath. Conclude by writing, I release this energy with love and gratitude. I choose to embrace worthiness and abundance. Frequency. Do this practice weekly or whenever you feel that familiar pang of guilt surfacing. The mirror of worth. Affirmation. This ritual directly addresses the feeling of unworthiness. How to do it? Stand in front of a mirror, making direct eye contact with your reflection. The process. Take 3 deep, grounding breaths. Place your hand over your heart. Begin to speak affirmations aloud. With conviction, I am inherently worthy of all good things. My value is not determined by my bank account. I am a divine being, deserving of financial peace and abundance. I open myself to receive all the blessings the universe has for me. If you feel resistance, acknowledge it gently. I notice the resistance and I choose to release it. I am worthy. Frequency. Daily, ideally in the morning, to set a positive, energetic tone for the day. The gratitude for receiving. Practice. This ritual trains your mind to be open and thankful for what you receive, countering the tendency to focus on what's missing or to feel awkward when gifted. How to do it? This can be done at any time, but it's particularly powerful at the end of the day. The process. Reflect on all the ways you received abundance throughout the day. This can be anything: a compliment, a helpful piece of advice, a delicious meal, a beautiful sunset, a financial transaction that went smoothly, a helpful service. For each item, express genuine gratitude. You can write it down or say it aloud. Example: thank you for the unexpected discount I received at the grocery store. I'm grateful for this financial ease. Or, thank you for the insightful conversation with my colleague. I received valuable wisdom. Frequency. Daily. These rituals are your alchemical tools. They are consistent, gentle, and designed to rewire your subconscious patterns. The key is not perfection, but persistence. Each time you engage in these practices, you are reinforcing a new energetic truth within yourself, that you are worthy, that abundance is your birthright, and that money can be a sacred force for good. Chapter 10. Forgiveness. Ledger. Healing. Financial shame. Let's delve deeper into the power of the forgiveness ledger. Shame, particularly financial shame, is a heavy cloak that can smother our ability to attract and receive. It tells us we are fundamentally flawed, unworthy of prosperity, and destined to repeat our mistakes. The forgiveness ledger is your alchemical solvent for dissolving this dense energy. The act of writing is profoundly therapeutic. When you write, you externalize the internal. You take the amorphous, often overwhelming feelings of shame and give them form. This act of externalization makes them less powerful, less all-encompassing. You gain a sense of agency over them. Here's how to deepen the practice of the forgiveness ledger. Set the sacred space. Before you begin, create an environment that feels calm and safe. Dim the lights, light a candle, play gentle music, or simply ensure you have quiet solitude. This is not a chore. It's a sacred act of self-healing. Acknowledge, don't judge. The goal is not to beat yourself up over past financial missteps or perceived shortcomings. It's to acknowledge the event or feeling and then consciously release its energetic hold. You are not confessing to a judge. You are granting yourself absolution. Be specific but concise. While you don't need to write a novel, being specific helps. Instead of, I feel bad about money, try I forgive myself for the time I overspent on impulse purchases during a period of emotional distress, or I forgive myself for believing that I was somehow inherently incapable of managing money well. The power of I forgive myself. The core of this practice is self-forgiveness. You are the one holding the energetic charge of shame. By forgiving yourself, you are releasing yourself from that burden. Imagine yourself as a loving parent, gently acknowledging a child's mistake and guiding them toward learning and growth, without condemnation. The release breath. As you write each entry, pair it with a deep exhalation. Visualize the breath carrying away the shame, the regret, the self-judgment. Imagine it dissolving into harmless energy. Closing with empowerment. After writing your entries, conclude with powerful affirmations that affirm your new reality. I am now free from the burden of past financial shame. I embrace my worthiness and my capacity for abundant prosperity. I learn from my past and move forward with integrity and grace. What to do with the ledger. Once you've completed your entries for a session, you can choose to keep the ledger in a safe place as a reminder of your journey, or you can ritually destroy it, e.g., burn it safely, bury it, as a symbolic act of release. The choice is yours. The most important part is the internal transformation. Remember, financial shame often stems from a belief that you should have known better. But often, we are operating with incomplete information or subconscious programming. Self-forgiveness is about acknowledging that you did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time, and now you have new tools, new wisdom, and a new path forward. I remember working through my own ledger regarding a particularly disastrous investment in my early 20s. I'd lost a significant amount of money, and the shame lingered for years, whispering doubts whenever I considered investing again. Writing down, I forgive myself for making that investment without doing adequate due diligence, driven by blind optimism and a lack of true knowledge, was liberating. It allowed me to see that it was a learning experience, not a character indictment. From that space, I could then build a new foundation of knowledge and integrity. Chapter 11. Mirror of Worth. Cultivating worthiness and receiving, if the forgiveness. Ledger dissolves the old energetic imprints of shame. The Mirror of Worth ritual cultivates the new, vibrant energy of worthiness. This is about actively embodying the truth of your inherent value, independent of external validation or financial achievement. Why is this so crucial for abundance? Because the universe responds to our vibrational frequency. If your dominant frequency is one of unworthiness, you will unconsciously repel the abundance that is meant for you. You'll create self-fulfilling prophecies of lack. Conversely, if you emanate a strong, clear frequency of worthiness, you become a magnet for prosperity. The Mirror of Worth ritual. A deeper dive. The setup. Find a mirror. Ideally, do this in a private space where you won't be interrupted. Early morning is often powerful for setting the day's intention, but any time you can commit to is effective. The gaze. Stand directly in front of the mirror. Look yourself in the eyes. This can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're not used to truly seeing yourself. Breathe into that discomfort. This is your opportunity to meet your own gaze with compassion and acceptance. The core affirmations, speak them aloud. I am worthy. This is the foundational statement. Say it with as much conviction as you can muster. If it feels false, acknowledge that and repeat it anyway. I am deserving of financial peace and abundance. Connect your worthiness directly to financial well-being. This isn't about greed. It's about recognizing that abundance is a natural, divine state of being. My value is inherent and unconditional. Your worth is not based on your job title, your income, your possessions, or your accomplishments. It is intrinsic to your very existence as a divine spark. I am open and ready to receive. This is crucial. Worthiness without openness to receive is like a full cup that cannot accept more water. Embodying the feeling. As you speak these affirmations, try to feel them. What would it feel like to truly believe you are worthy? What would shift within you? Connect with that feeling. Let it radiate from your heart. Addressing resistance. You will likely encounter resistance. That nagging voice might say, "Easy for you to say," or "I don't believe that." Acknowledge these thoughts without engaging them. You can say, "I hear that thought and I choose to release it. I am choosing to embrace my worthiness now." Or simply, "Thank you for sharing, but I am choosing a new belief." The key is not to fight the resistance, but to gently move past it, directing your focus back to the affirmation and the feeling of worthiness. Visualizing the golden light. As you affirm your worthiness, visualize a warm, golden light emanating from your core, surrounding your entire being. This light represents divine love and your inherent energetic value. Imagine it expanding with each breath, filling the room, the receiving pose. To enhance the practice of receiving, you can incorporate a physical posture. Extend your hands palms up, as if ready to catch something, or gently cup them, as if holding something precious. This nonverbal cue reinforces your readiness to accept the abundance that is flowing to you. I recall working with a woman who felt deep shame about a past bankruptcy. Whenever she looked in the mirror and said, "I am worthy," her eyes would well up with tears and her voice would falter. We spent weeks focusing on this ritual, gently guiding her through the resistance. One day, she looked in the mirror, and a slow, genuine smile spread across her face. She said, "For the first time, I think I felt it. I felt it." That shift, that internal resonance, was the alchemical turning point. It allowed her to begin attracting new financial opportunities from a place of genuine self-acceptance. This is not about egoic arrogance. It's about recognizing your divine blueprint. It's about clearing the energetic debris that obscures your true value, allowing the natural flow of abundance to reach you. Chapter 12. Inspired Action versus Hustle. Mindset. Finding your flow. We've touched on this, but let's solidify the distinction. The difference between the hustle mindset and inspired action is the difference between forcing a plant to grow by yanking on its stem and providing it with the right soil, sunlight, and water. One is strained and ineffective. The other is natural and generative. Hustle mindset characteristics, driven by fear. If I don't do X, Y, and Z right now, I'll fail. Focus on doing over being. Constant activity, often without clear purpose or inner alignment. External validation. Success is measured by external achievements, recognition, or the sheer volume of work. Burnout leads to exhaustion, resentment, and eventually a breakdown in momentum. Forceful approach, trying to control outcomes, pushing against resistance. Inspired action characteristics, driven by clarity and intuition. This feels right. This is the next aligned step. Focus on being as much as doing, cultivating inner alignment. Stillness and awareness. Internal resonance. Success is measured by the feeling of flow. Integrity and alignment. Sustainability. Energizing. Sustainable and generative. It fuels you rather than depletes you. Co-creative approach, working with the flow of the universe, recognizing opportunities. How to cultivate inspired action, prioritize stillness, schedule time for meditation, quiet, reflection, or simply being in nature. This is where you connect with your inner guidance. This is where inspiration is born. Don't see this as wasted time. See it as essential for effective action. Listen to your intuition. Your intuition is your inner compass. When faced with a decision, tune into your gut feeling. Does an opportunity feel expansive or contractive? Does a proposed action feel exciting or draining? Trust that inner knowing. Clarify your why. Connect your actions to your deeper purpose and values. When you understand why you are doing something, it becomes infused with energy and meaning. making inspired action much more likely. Embrace flow state. When you are fully engaged in an activity that aligns with your skills and passions, and that feels inherently rewarding, you enter a flow state. This is a hallmark of inspired action. Seek out activities that put you in this state. Be open to detours. Inspired action doesn't always follow a straight line. Sometimes, the universe will present an unexpected turn that leads to an even greater outcome. Be flexible, adaptable, and open to these divine detours. Act from a place of wholeness. Before taking action, ensure you are coming from a place of inner fullness and worthiness, not from desperation or a need to prove yourself. This is where the mirror of worth practice is invaluable. When you shift from the hustle mindset to inspired action, your financial life begins to transform. Opportunities appear with greater ease. Challenges feel less like insurmountable obstacles and more like stepping stones. You stop chasing wealth and start embodying it, allowing it to flow to you naturally and joyfully. Chapter 13. Sacred Investing. Choosing financial paths that align with your ethics investing is a critical component of wealth creation. And for the spiritual seeker, it's an area ripe for alchemical transformation. Sacred investing isn't about finding the next get-rich-quick scheme. It's about making conscious, ethical choices that align your capital with your deepest values and contribute to a more positive world. The traditional investment world can feel daunting and ethically ambiguous. We're often presented with options that, upon closer inspection, may fund industries we fundamentally disagree with. Weapons manufacturing, exploitative labor, environmental destruction. Sacred investing challenges us to look beyond just the potential returns and consider the energetic impact of our capital. Key principles of sacred investing. Values. Alignment. This is paramount. Before investing, clearly define your non-negotiables. What industries or practices do you refuse to support? What positive impact do you want your money to have? This could include renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, ethical technology, affordable housing, education, or healthcare initiatives. Research with integrity. Sacred investing requires due diligence, but with a spiritual lens. Look into a company's practices, their environmental footprint, their labor policies, and their overall contribution to society. Many resources now exist to help identify socially responsible investing, SRI, or environmental, social, and governance or ESG funds, impact investing. This goes beyond simply avoiding bad investments. Impact investing actively seeks out opportunities that generate measurable positive social or environmental impact alongside a financial return. This could be investing in a company developing a cure for a disease, or a venture providing clean water in developing nations. Conscious divestment, just as important as choosing what to invest in, is choosing what to divest from. If you discover your current investments are supporting industries that conflict with your values, consider divesting. This is an act of energetic cleansing and a powerful statement of your commitment to integrity. Long-term perspective. Sacred investing often involves a longer-term perspective, focusing on sustainable growth and positive impact rather than short-term speculation. It's about building wealth that is not only financially sound, but also spiritually fulfilling. I remember speaking with an investor who was deeply troubled by the source of his wealth. He was making significant money in traditional markets, but he felt a constant unease, a disconnect. When we explored his values, he realized his true passion lay in environmental conservation. We then worked together to transition his portfolio into funds focused on renewable energy and sustainable technologies. The financial returns were comparable, but the inner peace and sense of purpose he gained were immeasurable. He was no longer just growing his money. He was growing a better world with his money. Sacred investing is an alchemical process. You are transforming inert capital into a force for positive change, all while building your own financial security and prosperity. It's about ensuring your money is not just growing, but glowing with integrity and purpose. Chapter 14. Embracing receiving as a spiritual practice. We've touched on receiving before, particularly in the Mirror of Worth ritual, but it deserves its own focus because it is one of the most significant blockages for many spiritually minded individuals. We are often conditioned to be givers, to be selfless, to be humble. These are noble qualities, but when taken to an extreme, they can lead us to reject the abundance that the universe is so eager to bestow upon us. Receiving is not selfish. It is essential for a balanced energetic exchange. Think of the natural world. A tree receives sunlight, water, and nutrients, and then it gives fruit, shade, and oxygen. A river receives rain and tributaries, and then it flows, nurturing the land. Giving without receiving creates stagnation. Why is receiving so difficult for spiritual people? Misinterpretation of humility. The idea of spiritual humility can be twisted into spiritual unworthiness. We might feel that admitting we need or want something, or accepting help, diminishes us. Fear of indebtedness. Some may feel uncomfortable receiving because they fear owing someone, or feeling beholden, belief in self-sufficiency. While self-reliance is important, an extreme belief in self-sufficiency can prevent us from accepting support and abundance when it's offered. Unprocessed shame. As we've discussed, shame tells us we don't deserve good things. How to cultivate the art of receiving, say yes. More often, start small. When someone offers you a cup of coffee, a compliment, or help with a task, practice saying a simple, heartfelt yes. Thank you. Resist the urge to deflect. Acknowledge and appreciate. When you receive something, whether it's a material gift, a piece of advice, or an opportunity, acknowledge it with sincere gratitude. Don't just say thanks. Feel the gratitude. This amplifies the positive energy and signals to the universe that you are ready for more. Receive in small doses. If a grand gesture of receiving feels overwhelming, break it down. Practice receiving small blessings. Finding a parking spot, receiving a discount, hearing a beautiful piece of music, enjoying a delicious meal. Each small act of receiving trains your energetic muscles. Practice energetic receiving. This can be done through meditation. Visualize yourself standing in a beautiful golden light. Imagine that light as pure abundance, love, and blessings. Open yourself up, palms outward, and simply allow that light to flow into you. Breathe it in. Feel it fill you up. Ask for what you need. If you are clear about your needs and desires, don't be afraid to articulate them, not in a demanding way, but in an open, honest way. Sometimes, simply expressing a need can open the door for receiving. Receive from the divine. Remember that the ultimate source of abundance is the divine. Practice receiving blessings, guidance, and energy directly from the universe, from God, from Spirit, whatever you call it. This is often the easiest form of receiving, as it requires no personal interaction or potential for perceived obligation. Receiving is not passive. It is an active spiritual practice. It requires courage, openness, and a willingness to believe that you are indeed worthy of receiving all the good that the universe has to offer. When you master receiving, you create a dynamic, balanced flow of energy in your life, which is the very essence of true abundance. Chapter 15. Daily Rituals for Sustaining an Abundance Frequency. We've covered principles, practices, and the alchemical shifts needed to transform your financial reality. Now it's about making this a living, breathing part of your life. Sustaining an abundance frequency isn't about a one-time fix. It's about embedding these principles into your daily life through consistent, conscious rituals. Think of these rituals as tending to your inner garden. Just as a plant needs daily sunlight and water to thrive, your abundance consciousness needs daily nurturing, Here are some rituals you can integrate. The morning abundance invocation, 5 to 10 minutes. What? Begin your day with a clear intention of abundance. How? Upon waking, before even getting out of bed, set your intention. You can say, "Today I am open to receiving all the abundance the universe has for me. I align my energy with prosperity, integrity, and joy. My financial energy flows harmoniously, creating blessings for myself and others." Follow this with a few moments of gratitude for what you already have. Midday, energetic check-in. 1-2 minutes. What? A brief pause to recalibrate your energy, especially if you've encountered any financial friction or stress. How? Take 3 deep breaths. Ask yourself, what is my current financial vibration? Am I aligned with abundance, or am I slipping into fear or scarcity? If you notice a dip, consciously shift your focus to gratitude for something, or visualize a small stream of golden light flowing into your heart. The abundance, affirmation, and visualization. Practice 5 to 10 minutes. What? Reinforce your core beliefs about money and wealth. How? Choose 5 to 10 powerful affirmations related to wealth, worthiness, and receiving. You can use those from the Mirror of Worth ritual. Speak them aloud with feeling. Then spend a few minutes vividly visualizing yourself living in a state of abundant prosperity. See yourself making empowered financial decisions, experiencing financial freedom, and contributing positively to the world. Feel the emotions associated with that vision: joy, security, peace, gratitude. The conscious spending gratitude ritual during after transactions. What? Infuse every financial transaction with gratitude. How? Before paying for something, mentally acknowledge the value exchange with gratitude. After the transaction, take a moment to appreciate the opportunity to spend, the service or product received, and the fact that you have the means to do so. If you're purchasing something that strongly aligns with your values, acknowledge that your money is being used as a force for good. The evening abundance recap, 5-10 minutes. What? Reflect on the abundance you experienced throughout the day. How? Before sleep, review your day and identify at least 3 instances of abundance. This could be a financial gain, a moment of financial ease, a helpful insight, or simply a feeling of peace around your finances. Write them down in a gratitude journal. This trains your mind to actively look for and appreciate abundance, reinforcing the positive loop. These rituals are not about adding more to your busy schedule. They are about infusing your existing day with intention and elevated consciousness. They are your daily alchemical practice, turning ordinary moments into opportunities for extraordinary transformation. As you consistently engage in these practices, you don't just manage your money, you embody abundance. Chapter 16. Conclusion. Becoming abundance, integrating spirit and finance. We have journeyed together through the landscape of spiritual finance, from acknowledging the inner conflict to building practical, value-driven strategies. We've explored how to alchemize guilt and shame into worthiness, how to shift from a hustle mindset to inspired action, and how to make our financial lives a sacred expression of our deepest truths. The ultimate goal of this alchemical process is not merely to attract more money, but to become abundance. Abundance, in its truest sense, is not a state of having, but a state of being. It is a profound inner knowing of your inherent worth, your unlimited potential, and your interconnectedness with a benevolent, abundant universe. When you embody abundance, money ceases to be a source of stress or struggle. It becomes a flowing current, a tool that supports your highest purpose, a reflection of your inner alignment. You move from chasing prosperity to radiating it. This integration of spirit and finance is a continuous journey, an ongoing alchemical practice. It requires patience, self-compassion, and persistent commitment. There will be days of soaring inspiration and days where old patterns resurface. The key is to meet each moment with awareness and to return again and again to your chosen rituals and principles. Remember Anya, the healer who struggled to charge fair prices. She learned that her spiritual service was her worth, and her worthiness extended to receiving financial compensation. She began charging her true value, and to her surprise, her clients respected her more. Her practice flourished, and her financial stress dissolved. She became a conduit for abundance, both in spirit and in coin. This is the transformation available to you. It's about recognizing that your spiritual journey and your financial journey are not separate paths, but two expressions of the same divine essence. When you align them, you unlock a powerful force for creation, contribution, and lasting, joyful prosperity. The principles we've discussed: understanding spiritual finance, identifying and releasing guilt, practicing conscious stewardship, building values-driven plans, acting from inspiration, investing with integrity, embracing receiving, and sustaining your abundance frequency are not just concepts. They are the alchemical keys to unlocking a life where your finances are a source of peace, empowerment, and expansive contribution. So, as you continue this path, remember this: you are a powerful alchemist. You have the capacity to transmute any financial challenge into an opportunity for growth, any doubt into a declaration of worthiness, and any perceived lack into an experience of boundless supply. The greatest wealth you will ever create is not in your bank account, but within your being. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. May your finances flow with the grace and power of your awakened spirit.